I'm late, and it's my own fault. It's just really my bad luck. I had one job to do tonight, and my one job was to get my son picked up from his middle school dance. It's a Friday night in October, maybe 2003, and I knew I needed about 20 minutes to get from the restaurant that I was hanging out with friends with to the middle school in the neighboring town of Ellington, Connecticut. But I messed up on time. I'm not going to make it on time. And so I'm late not only for me, but I'm also late for my son. And what that does is that makes him that kid. That kid is the last kid that's left at a middle school dance after everybody else has been picked up. That kid has to wait with the teacher and the principal after everybody else has gone home. Their parents, the good parents. So I'm that parent too. And so I'm driving my car knowing I'm not going to get there on time, and I'm going to make that teacher and I'm going to make that principal wait. And they're not going to be happy because it's Friday night and all they want to do is go home. And I'm driving down the road just dreaming, praying, hoping, somehow or another, believing that I can get there faster. But it's not going to happen. But I keep hoping. And a song comes on the radio. It's the perfect song for the fall of 2003. It's one of the top pop songs of the year. I'm sure the kids were dancing to it a little while ago in that gym. And I almost believe that I'm there. And it becomes even more believable when a disco ball comes out of the roof of my car into the interior of my car and begins to light up the inside with a whole series of bright lights flashing back and forth inside. One look at my rearview mirror, however, tells me there's no disco ball. There is a police car that's clearly waiting for me to pull over, which I do. When I pull over, they pull over. And now I'm going to be even later. And once I've exchanged pleasantries with the police officer who asked for my license and registration, she informs me that she has a little bit more bad news for me because my registration is expired. And her plan is to take the plates from my car, for me to leave the car there on the side of the road until such time as I can get it registered again. And I have to figure out how to get home. But I can't leave it like this. It's already bad enough that my kid is that kid. My kid can't be even worse than that kid, which I don't even know what that is. But I have to figure out something. So I have to plead with the police officer. I have to tell a good story even then. And so I tell her that I appreciate the job she has to do, but I have a job to do too, because I'm a parent. And she says, let me see what I can do. And when she comes back, she has a very clear message for me. Her message is that I should leave the car where it is, but she's going to get in her police cruiser first and drive away in the opposite direction. To make sure that I get it, we repeat the story back to one another a few times. And indeed, as I look in my rearview mirror one more time and see that police cruiser lights fading away into the darkness, I realize I have a job to do. And yeah, I'm still late. But for whatever reason, when she looked down at me and maybe felt pity on me, maybe felt like this was a dad who just needed a break, I was able to continue driving. And yes, I was late. And yes, as I pulled into that parking lot of that middle school, there was the tired, beleaguered principal. There was the bedraggled middle school teacher. And there was that kid, my son, waiting. And I get out of the car and make profuse apologies, which is so graciously accepted by everyone there, including my son. And we hop back into the car. And we're driving home, and it's silent. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. He's tired from a night of dance. And there's not a word spoken between us, except one sentence. There's one sentence that forms in my head. 7 words come to the front of my brain. And at first, I believe it's a question I'm going to actually ask my son. But as I continue driving and look this time not into the regular rear view mirror of my car, but in the rear view mirror of my life, of my day, of my experience, knowing that I'm headed home to my wife and my daughter, and I'm bringing my son home after a middle school dance that he's clearly enjoyed, it's not a question. It actually becomes a statement. And even more powerful than a statement, it's a fact. And so I look at my son, and he looks at me, and all the only words that are spoken between the two of us are those 7 words that he responds with by just looking and smiling, a nod of his head. And the words that I have to say to him are, do you know how lucky I am? Thank you.